Let's rewind the clock. Not just a few years, but 2 billion years deep into Earth's history. You are touching down on a planet that feels entirely alien. As you look out the window of your time machine, the continents are unrecognizable blobs of rock. There are no forests, no grasses, and certainly no animals. The landscape is bleak, barren, and utterly silent. If you step outside, keep your helmet tight. The atmosphere is toxic to modern humans, containing less than 10% of the oxygen levels we enjoy today. Instead, the air is thick with methane and carbon dioxide. The only life to be found here is hiding in the water. The oceans are teeming with a green, slimy sludge known as cyanobacteria. These microscopic organisms are the unsung heroes and villains of Earth's history. They developed a superpower that changed everything: photosynthesis. They began using sunlight to split water molecules, releasing oxygen as a waste product. For millions of years, this oxygen simply reacted with iron in the ocean, rusting the planet. But eventually the sponges filled up. Oxygen began flooding the atmosphere. This led to the Great Oxidation event. While oxygen is great for us, it was a deadly poison to the anaerobic microbes that ruled the Earth at the time. It triggered a mass extinction, wiping out 99% of life on the planet. Simultaneously, this new oxygen scrubbed the atmosphere of methane, a potent greenhouse gas that kept the Earth warm. The result was catastrophic. Temperatures plummeted. The planet froze over, turning into a giant snowball for 200 million years. This was the Huronian glaciation. Life barely hung on in small pockets of liquid water. But the Earth wasn't done. Deep beneath the ice, volcanoes began to erupt, pumping carbon dioxide back into the air and warming the planet enough to melt the ice. Interestingly, during this volatile time, nature accidentally built a nuclear power plant. In a region that is now Gabon, Africa, uranium deposits were so concentrated that a natural nuclear fission reaction ignited underground. This natural reactor ran for hundreds of thousands of years, proving that atomic energy is as old as the Earth itself. As the ice melted and the planet stabilized, complex cells with nuclei, eukaryotes, began to form. These are the ancestors of every plant, animal, and human alive today. 2 to 4 o'clock, the scorched future, 1 billion years forward. We survived the ice. Now let's jump forward, past our present day, and 1 billion years into the future. If the past was defined by ice, the future is defined by fire. Before we get to the end, humanity faces a strange road. By the year 10,000 AD, genetic mixing will likely homogenize the human race. Distinct racial traits will vanish, blending into a uniform distribution of skin and hair colors. Our languages will have evolved so drastically that English or Mandarin from the 21st century would be unintelligible. Geologically, the Earth is restless. Niagara Falls has eroded into non-existence. A new island has risen in Hawaii. And if we look further, to 250 million years from now, the continents will have crashed back together. Welcome to Pangaea Ultima, a massive supercontinent where the inland regions are harsh, dry deserts. But the real threat comes from the sky. The sun is getting older, and as it ages it gets brighter and hotter. By this time, the sun's luminosity will have increased by about 10%. This sounds small, but the consequences are fatal. The increased heat speeds up the weathering of rocks, a process that absorbs carbon dioxide. Eventually, CO2 levels will drop so low that photosynthesis becomes impossible. First the plants die. Then the animals that eat them starve. The oxygen we breathe disappears. 1 billion years from now, the average temperature on Earth hits 47 degrees Celsius, 117 degrees Fahrenheit. The oceans begin to evaporate. The atmosphere turns into a damp, suffocating greenhouse. Earth returns to a barren, lifeless rock, much like it was in the beginning. If humans are still around, we can no longer call this rock home. We must have moved to the stars. 4 to 6 o'clock, the ascension, type 6 civilization. So where do we go? To survive the death of Earth, we must climb the Kardashev scale. This scale measures a civilization by the energy it controls. Type 1. We harness all the energy of our home planet. Type 2. We harness the total energy of the sun, think Dyson spheres. Type 3. We control the energy of the entire Milky Way galaxy. But let's not stop there. Let's go to the theoretical limit. What happens if humanity survives long enough to become a Type 6 civilization? At this stage, we have transcended biology. We likely no longer have physical bodies. We exist as pure consciousness or data, integrated into the fabric of the cosmos. We wouldn't just control stars. We would exist outside of standard space and time. A Type 6 civilization operates across the multiverse. We would have the power to create universes, tweak the laws of physics, and organize reality like a computer program. Time would not be a linear river that flows one way. To a Type 6 being, time is an ocean you can dive into at any point. You could revisit the Big Bang, or watch the heat death of the universe in the blink of an eye. You could construct a universe where gravity is weaker, allowing for impossibly tall structures, or a universe where magic is indistinguishable from physics. However, this power brings the ultimate ethical paradox. If you can create life and destroy universes with a thought, do you have the right to intervene? Are you a guardian, or are you a tyrant? From the toxic sludge of 2 billion years ago, fighting for oxygen, to godlike beings shaping the multiverse, the story of life is the story of energy. We survived the ice. We survived the fire. And perhaps, one day, we will survive the end of the universe itself.